In today's episode, I talk about how Becky went from this to this. First off, I want to apologize for once again making a video which is purely a voiceover. Back when I had taken these pictures, I hadn't really intended on making a video of the repair. So you could say that overall, this whole process was pretty poorly planned. Now that that is out of the way, let's get on with it. In my last video, which was the introduction to my GTR, see the link in the upper right corner, I had mentioned the core support had been damaged in an accident prior to me owning the car. I had also mentioned that I hit a deer at one point in the car as well. Now the damage from these accidents was not so severe that I couldn't have gotten away with not repairing the core support. However, how would I ever sleep at night if I didn't go about repairing this damage? Fortunately, I was able to find a front cut from another GTR which had a good core support. Unfortunately, it was across the country from me. However, it was in close proximity to my brother, who was able to go snag it for me and then send it to me via Greyhound. The front cut had arrived, the core support was in fantastic shape, and I was happy. Once the old core support was off the chassis and the new core support was prepped to go on, I began the process of getting it mocked into place. This portion of the process was the most critical as the placement of the core support is going to determine whether headlights, blinkers, and the grille are going to line up with the fenders, hood, and bumper. Since I was now satisfied with how everything lined up and how well the core support was mocked into place, I had to pull everything back apart to prep the chassis and the core support for them to be welded together. The majority of this prep work was actually repairing the damage which was caused while the spot welds were being cut. Fortunately for me, it all cleaned up pretty easily. Please excuse my poor editing as we skip through these next photos, because photos are like, boring. Some areas, such as this upper rail, did require more extensive repairs, but once again, the process went well overall and everything cleaned up. And yes, I know the before pictures were one rail and the after picture was another rail, but same. Once everything was cleaned up, I was able to weld the core support onto the car. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage or images of this process. However, as you can see, the core support is now permanently back in place, and Becky is once again a mostly complete car.